Hey everybody, and welcome to the Pixar Post Live Hangout as we discuss the brand new, just released today, March 15th.
The first.
Yes, Coco.
Not just the brand new, the first.
Coco teaser trailer. Yes, very exciting, very exciting. I see we've got some people that are already throwing in some comments in the chat, so that's awesome that you're already chatting along. Of course, when we do any of these live hangouts, we've got lots of notes. We'll share some. We'll actually watch through the trailer. Whenever we do the watch through the trailer, the audio we don't do, as far as just because then it becomes an issue when you share it and all these other kind of things where it blocks off. But we, of course, have some special guests with us as well. As we're talking and as we're going through, feel free to either add your comments into the chat if you're watching directly on YouTube. You can send us an email, info@pixarpost.com, or you can send us a message on Twitter, which Julie will be monitoring a lot of those. I have some YouTube ones over here, so if you see me looking over here, I'm looking at your YouTube chat. She'll be monitoring some of the Pixar ones, the Twitter ones, so if that's at thepixarpost.com, if you want to throw in your questions or comments there. And well, let's just go ahead and introduce our esteemed guest this evening. If you've been on this channel before and you've seen some of these, you certainly are going to know who they are. So first, let's start with Dan Taylor. Dan, the Pixar fan. Say hey, Dan.
Hola.
Oh, perfect. Did you plan that?
I mean, we're talking Coco here, so I had to. Right. That's the only word in Spanish I know, so I had to bring it out.
It only makes sense. Now, Dan runs a fan site, just like many of the rest of us, and his is all dedicated to the products of Pixar. He does a daily post where he looks at his personal collection and some new products that are coming out. So if you haven't checked that out, it's danthepixarfan.com. Our other esteemed guest is one half of the Carlin brothers.
Super Carlin brothers.
Super. They wouldn't be they wouldn't just be Carlin brothers. They would be the Super Carlin brothers.
That's right.
Mr. Jonathan Carlin, say hello.
Hey, my name is Jay. Like you said, I am one half of the Super Carlin Brothers. We have a YouTube channel, Super Carlin Brothers, where we talk about lots of Pixar theories and some Disney and Star Wars. But the main thing, the thing we love the most is Pixar.
Oh, duh.
Darn right. Lots of theories that you guys have done. You've also done a lot of other fun off-topic type things. Like, what's one of your more recent Pixar ones?
Oh, gosh, man.
I'm going to throw you right on the spot like that.
I know, right? Man, we do. Like, they come out so fast. Let me look at my little thing here.
Oh, you've got a timeline above you.
Oh, I know. I've got like my calendar, my backlog. I think the most recent things we've been doing Pixar-wise is on Cars 3, just sort of doing the trailer reviews.
Yep, absolutely.
Those have been a lot of fun, though. I mean, it's so much like I feel like there's so much you can take away from the trailers, which obviously that's what we're doing tonight. So
yeah, exactly. So. Yeah. Let's take a look at this teaser trailer. I know that, again, it's not going to have audio, but chances are if you're watching this, you have heard it today. I want to at least set the playing field that we're going to take a look at it, and then we'll come back. We'll start to break down the different segments. We've got plenty of facts about the holiday, about comparisons. We're just gonna take it head on. We're going to talk about all these naysayers that are talking about the Book of Life. So we're gonna dive into that and look at some of the comparisons and not comparisons.
And I've done a lot of research since we've seen this trailer at 9 a.m. this morning.
Yeah,
that was when I wasn't at work. That's exactly what I was doing. I was doing lots of research and have a long document here.
I know. I've learned so much about Mexican culture today. So much.
I know.
I should say since the official poster, since that one poster was released. I've learned a lot.
Right, with your banners and everything.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but the Picado banners and the marigold.
You busted that word out there. You were happy you knew that. When you learned something new, you had to flaunt it.
You had a good word. I just have chiseled paper. That's what the word we found for it. But
chiseled paper.
I've got a lot.
Okay, go. Me too. Yeah.
Now, also, what about, have you guys been practicing how to pronounce the breed of dog that Dante is?
Oh,
that starts with an X?
Yeah.
Yes.
I just call it Mexican hairless.
I decided to just call it that. I wasn't going to try. Wasn't going to happen. But I'd like to see you try, DJ.
Yes.
It's got to be like Oaxaca, something like that.
Well, Oaxaca is that one.
Yeah,
Oaxaca is that
like
the
that.
town, but we'll get into it because I have practiced it.
Okay.
So just want to
Show
also,
off.
yeah, right. So let's say hi to some other folks in the chat here on YouTube. So Matt Tasbin, you've been in here since a half hour before, so you are doing your duties here. So welcome. You had a comment about Ratatouille. It's also one that we have as well, so we'll talk about that. So Destination Hayes, hey, Benny 92, Alyssa Liebenberg, RC Cars 5, knew you'd be here, of course. Taylor Midgie, you got tons of people in here. The Polish gent, hey, thanks for joining in.
Taylor's my nephew. That's cool.
Oh, hey, look at that.
Who knew? What's up, Taylor?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you said you were showing the trailer.
That's right.
You
Let's
got
go ahead and
sidetracked.
take a look at that. So here, let me go ahead and pull that up here. All right. So we'll come back in here. And getting some other folks coming in. All right, so we're back. What did you guys think of the trailer itself? What were your overall thoughts and feelings from it?
Man, so I guess right out of the gate, I was pretty wowed just by the visuals of it all. I really, in particular, love that the marigold bridge. That was just, that was cool.
Ridiculous.
I thought I was probably pausing it way too many times on even just the first go through when he's in his little altar room there. Like there is so much to look at in here, and I understood none of it at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot. I don't know. I thought the sets looked enormous. Looked really cool. It reminded me a lot of Inside Out when you get to see the inside of Riley's mind versus the underworld city sort of thing. I don't know. I was just sort of wow, this is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it definitely blew me away. In fact, I started literally feeling my heart race a little bit, and I was like, holy cow. The first thing that I thought of is this feels very classic Pixar. This feels like all of a sudden I'm a decade ago, and it's Ratatouille, it's WALL-E, and again, it just makes you. It made me feel that way, and maybe part of it was because the first thing I said to you afterwards is I feel like this is that portion of Ratatouille where you're hearing
the first thing that we said to each other, and it's because of Ernesto de la Cruz, the VHS tape. It was so much reminiscent of Chef Cousteau. Anyone can cook, and he's like, I am music, basically.
Right.
And the thing is that I felt it was reminiscent of Ratatouille, but I didn't feel like it was a copy of Ratatouille, which I felt was very important.
Right. But I love how like that whole message that Ernesto's saying while he's leading up to his song that he's going to sing is telling the story that Miguel is going to do. So in terms of like teasers, it doesn't get any more perfect than that as far as to be able to have it all just flow through. It tells the story of what it is. You get to see some characters. You get to see the land. I don't know. I was totally blown away, and it absolutely amped up our excitement for the film. Yeah. Dan, what were your thoughts on it?
My thoughts were your thoughts, actually. Like, you literally stole the words out of my mouth. I have here on my notes, like, overall thoughts. Classic Pixar.
All right, see ya.
Timeless. What I mean by that is I love what Pixar does so well with their films is they make them timeless. The best example I can give is in The Incredibles, where you don't necessarily know what time period it's in. It could be any time. And I love how Pixar uses like the VHS player and the old TV, and it's not modern. It's not like we're not throwing out pop culture. We're not throwing out pop music. It's very timeless and it's very classy. I love that about Pixar. And as soon as it started, and as soon as I watched the trailer, I was just like, that was classic Pixar. And then another note I have here was Ratatouille. so that's funny. Not only Ratatouille though, but also The Incredibles and Up, because both did that kind of old film reel thing.
Yeah.
Motif kind of deal. So I put those in there as well. But overall, it's very similar thoughts to you guys. Very classic Pixar, and just blown away by, once again, just the beauty. Pixar trailers and teasers and the films themselves are just so beautiful.
Was there a specific moment? Because I have two actually that stood out to me, beauty-wise.
I do. I would probably. I mean, we touched on it. I would say the bridge. And I would also say I would say a couple of things. The music, first of all, the sweeping music. I know it's not the official score, but just the whole feel of the trailer was beautiful with the music. And just the shots at the beginning of Miguel strumming and just those fadeaways, the fades to black, and him just enjoying the moment was just beautiful to me. And very quiet. I love the quiet, slow pacedness. It wasn't all over the place. It wasn't like wacky. It was just very calm, and I love that.
Yeah, that was crazy to me how they really were kind of bold with it to just say, we're going to let these lines carry a teaser trailer.
Right.
And that I thought that really sold it even more for me, that it wasn't in your face. Again, there's nothing wrong with the other style. It just, this felt so different.
Well, I think it's easy to compare now because Cars 3 is coming out, and that's fast paced, in your face. When you compare the Cars 3 teaser trailers to Coco trailer, it's very night and day.
Yeah, I mean, the Cars one had a lot of the, and then all of a sudden at the end it pauses and you see that crash for the first teaser.
Right, where this one it's, kind of.
Yeah, it's welcoming you into the world.
Right.
Well, it kind of has to, because like Cars, you already know the world. Like you have no idea what this world is going to be like. Like that was sort of the thing here. It was like we weren't even sure like how to talk about it, because we keep talking about all these old Pixar movies where you know the whole story, but oh man, it's like you get this is why I love original Pixar movies, because you just have no idea what it's going to be. Like you think we're going to sit here and tear it to pieces, then we're going to go see the movie and be like, nope, we had no idea.
Yeah, and what else I like about this movie is because we heard about Coco, quite a few years ago, that it was in the make. It's coming, and it's going to be about the Mexican holiday Dia de los Muertos. It's like I've heard of it, I know snippets about it, but I don't know about it. And for the past week, I've learned so much about it, and seeing this trailer, I like want to celebrate because I think it's so beautiful. And we've seen Book of Life, but it's just like, I don't know, this trailer for some reason just made it really beautiful to me.
Yeah.
Like the idea of it just like, it made me feel good.
Another thing I was excited to see was, I think, John, you were at D23, the last one, correct?
No.
You weren't. Well, I was happy that because I thought it was going to be that little clip that they showed there with the kind of the celebrating in the streets. I was hoping that it wasn't, because I had seen that before, and so I was really happy to see that this was completely all new footage that I had never seen before. That was kind of the first thought that popped into my head.
Yeah, it was great because I remember reading that description, and in fact, we'll even level set, and I'll read that description.
All right.
That was played there. And so this was actually from Slash Film, who was there as well. They described the clip that was shown at D23, again, August 14th, 2015. It was first announced in April 2012 at CinemaCon, so a long time ago that we first got the first teaser of it. Yeah, long time. So Slash filmed that clip that was there. So the character lights a candle in a cemetery as fireworks go off in the sky. A woman drops flower petals as she limps toward a colorfully decorated grave. Cut to colorfully dressed skeletons dancing and playing music in a long store-lined alleyway. The skeletons detach their heads and legs. During the course of the dance, a mariachi band is playing. A boy drops his skull mask and the music stops for a second. Then the music resumes. And as fireworks go off, we see an aerial view revealing that the block is shaped like a skull. Does that sound about right, Dan?
Yeah, I remember. I thought I remembered Miguel at the end, like a mask falling off, and I thought there was a reveal of him. And then all like the skeletons kind of looking over and like being this awkward silence. I vaguely remember that. It doesn't sound like he touched on that, but I literally thought that it was going to be that, and it would have made sense for a teaser trailer. It sounded like a teaser trailer. So
right.
We got way more than I thought we were going to. It was a full 2 minutes, and it was all very story centered.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I had a favorite part.
You're talking about the favorite parts, yeah.
Yeah. So I had two, actually. The first one, it's really kind of little, and I don't know if you guys are going to agree with me, but it's when Miguel first strikes his match, the sound that makes.
Oh, okay.
I know we can't play the sound of it, but
it's so specific, the scratchiness of it. And
no, the
okay.
crackle. It's like a crackle that it makes when the flame hits the candle wick and is starting to like melt that wax to light.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's very beautiful. And I think the sound, because it was such a quiet scene,
mm-hmm.
I felt like I was there.
Yeah.
It felt very intimate to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the second part that I thought was really beautiful was at the end where he goes, this isn't a dream. You guys are really out here. And then it fades to the Coco logo.
The logo, right.
That to me gave me chills and made me just happy. And, just, I want that. I want to, I don't know.
Yeah.
For people who have passed on and stuff. That really got me.
Yeah, for sure. I know, John, you had already mentioned the Marigold Bridge, but was there anything else that necessarily stood out as a favorite moment for you?
The other moment that stood out to me, which is, I feel bad it's not as specific as Julie's as a match striking. But it's just what he strikes the guitar in the I don't know, the mono, what's the word?
Mausoleum.
That's it. Mausoleum, and just all the flowers sort of erupt around him. That's the other one that really just stood out to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was cool to see the still in action.
Yeah, because I've seen the still, and so then you get to see it moving. That was good.
Yeah,
and it was cool. The chord that he strikes was really neat too, because I was when I saw that still, I was picturing what it would sound like, and it was just really cool to hear.
Yeah, I think the other thing that I thought of, because we talked about Ratatouille and a couple other people were chatting about that as well, but the other thing that I thought about was WALL-E.
Mm-hmm.
When he's in his room and he's got his little shrine to Ernesto and he's playing there, the way that felt, because it's so small and just the lighting
felt like WALL-E's truck.
Didn't it feel like his truck that he goes back to at the end of the night with the Christmas lights and everything?
Now that you mention that, it does. But when I was watching it the first time, my thought was like, this is just like the Woody's Roundup collection, because it was all so centered around like one specific thing.
Yeah, I like that too.
Right.
Yeah,
I like that.
Cruise. Yeah.
What's funny is you thought of Woody's Roundup, TJ thought of WALL-E, and I thought of Mr. Incredible's office.
Ah,
wow,
that's interesting.
And they're all very similar if you think about it.
Yeah, they are.
I didn't think of anything. I was just hung up on this match sound.
Is this going to be like your oxygen glove again?
Yeah.
The oxygen glove was great.
Yeah, that was good.
I thought about that when I watched the movie.
Finding Dory. was brilliant. Brilliant.
Oh boy, we're gonna have to
So
figure out a
what were
hashtag
yours?
for that. When Dante and Miguel when Dante's rolling around in the on the Marigold Bridge,
Mhm.
that was ridiculous. Just seeing the pedals, I was really enthralled immediately. I was like, okay, are these actually all? Did they all go through the effects department, or did they actually use some of the technology that they had created for Joy?
Wasn't it simulation too?
Well, yeah,
I was gonna say
yeah,
simulation.
simulation. But I'm thinking as far as the way that they're lit.
Oh, you know what? It is very reminiscent of how Joy
Well,
is lit,
yeah,
like
they-
from within.
Yeah, they created some of that technology to light something from within. I know this is, again, a simulation thing, but I didn't know, because it's projecting that light and you saw it reflecting off of the bottom of Dante and Miguel as he leans down. Like, that just blew my mind. So not only how they're just rustling that up when they're sitting in it, but then also the way the light's reflecting off of it, how each pedal feels like a light source. That was ridiculous.
Do you know what I like? Here we are. We're 4 different people, and we all have 4 different. I don't think we've come up with one that we've all said is the same. Besides the bridge, we all like the bridge, but we have 4 different parts.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
So let's also talk for a quick second, because I've seen a couple comments about it too, about Miguel having a VHS tape. Obviously, in today's world, with his age, that's probably not super common. But I'm inquiring as to, does he have it? Is this set, and this is a silly question, but is it set in a different time? Or is it just simply that this is, and it looks like an old VHS player, that he just has it on tape only, it's not converted any other way? And
That's what I'm saying. It's timeless. You don't know.
I have an idea, but you guys say your idea first, and then I'll say mine.
Well, yeah. So the question I had was, yeah, like where is this little altar located? Because I guess it looks like he's got the little vaulted ceilings, and it looks like what?
She's getting one of her mind-blowing moments here.
Well, it looks like an attic or something, but it couldn't be like his home attic, because I guess the premise of the story is that his family doesn't like music, right?
Right.
So
yeah, he would have to be somewhere secret.
So
It's
yeah,
a-
the
it's
odds
a
of getting
hidden
all
area.
that stuff up there and then playing music, I don't feel like is that. So I feel like he must have like a hideout or a friend or one of his relatives who's sympathetic to his cause or passion or something like that.
Right.
Blow our minds, Julie.
Yeah. Let's see what this is.
It is. You know, Jay, you did, think about it, but I do think it might be an attic. I do think it's a little hideout. I think he's come up with all of these items. I think it's a TV that he probably found, someone was getting rid of it, a VHS player that someone was getting rid of. And he probably had that tape, was probably his grandmother's, great-grandmother's, of when, it was all of like recordings and stuff. And he's kept onto that, or he found that at his house. And so
something's brewing.
He's kept all of these shrine things and everything. But do you want to know something really cool?
Yes.
Of course.
In that scene where he's playing his guitar, that looks very similar to Ernesto de la Cruz's, Pixarian sketch artist / character designer, Grant Alexander, mentioned on Instagram that he is behind creating Miguel's guitar.
Yeah, he helped create it
in that scene. And then he also noted that artist Daniel Arriaga helped, I think, Miguel strum or hold the guitar. I don't know the details because I know a lot of people worked on it.
Oh, we're going to talk. Okay, I know where you're going. Yep.
But yeah, he helped hold it in that scene. Since I'm talking about that scene.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we can talk about that too for sure.
I assume sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
I was gonna say, like, I wonder, like, how specific and accurate the fingering on the guitar is, like, if it would, like, genuinely plays, if he's got his fingers in the right spots for those notes to come out. I feel like probably yes, because it's pretty detailed. But that
all right, so I have to find the note.
Yeah, Lee Umbridge said in a tweet today that it's all they did a really good job. He goes, there's one particular scene in the film that it wasn't, and I did it part in the trailer, I think is what he said.
Yeah, so
yeah, he said.
Or it's a little off.
So there's a couple people that have commented and said, there's a user on Twitter that said, I feel bad for the Coco animator who had to animate the fingers during the guitar playing scenes, because yes, it is pretty darn accurate, if not dead on. But an animator, Chris Chua, responded and said, "Feel bad," and multiply that by 100.
I bet, because that looked real
For
tricky.
that one moment, and that's only one part in the film.
Yeah, it's like, certainly there's going to be a lot of music in this movie.
Yeah, and that's really exciting because if you think about it, animators, when they're in school, they're learning voice syncopation and certain mouth movements and character motions. But there's probably not a ton of people that have done, and if they do anything with an instrument, it's just straight chord holding and strumming. It's not going to be individual note that's going to be happening.
Right. Well,
So
I was going to ask, have you seen that not only in a Pixar movie, but in any animated film that intricate as far as playing? Have you seen that before? Because I was racking my brain. My first time I've seen that specific that well.
Yeah, I
Ratatouille, when they were chopping like vegetables and stuff, maybe that's kind of intricate.
Yeah, it's still like kind of like one motion, because what
you're
it
right.
was, they were cutting it, and then the effects team had to put in
You're right.
the actual vegetables that they then cut. I can only tell you that I can't think of anything else that's that good. It doesn't mean that there isn't, but I can't think of any, because usually when I do watch something, I always get disgusted when the drummer's off or the guitar player's off.
Oh
and
yeah,
I'm
you
like,
can see
"Ugh."
we've got guitars in the background.
Oh, that's how my brother is. He hates
There's
it
two back there.
Yeah, you got to have it sync up if you want it to be realistic, and Pixar is going to do that. So the fact that Chris Chua came out and said, feel bad and multiply it by 100 certainly means something.
Yeah.
So that's going to be definitely something that they're going to spend a lot of time on, or they did, and awesome. So one of the other things that I saw, so let's just go to this real quick, because I want to talk about a particular moment in the trailer, and just validating you guys can see this.
Yep.
Okay, right here. I think it's kind of cool, first off, that he's got DLC records. So I assume De La Cruz records. So he's big enough that he's got his own record company. But Remember Me is this name of this, either this album, the single, whatever we're going to call it. And what's cool about that is, and we were just reminded of it because we were watching the Book of Life again today, because we got to refresh, we got to make sure we're on top of it. So as we were watching that, there's the whole discussion of between the Day of the Dead of the land of the remembered and the land of the forgotten. So I think it's kind of interesting that if we're going to have a movie that's going to go into the Day of the Dead, that he's got an album that says the land of the dead, that's going to be Remember Me, because there's the land of the remembered and the land of the forgotten.
It's interesting.
So I thought that was kind of like a cool little thing that was there.
Will Coco touch on the land of the forgotten?
Yeah, we don't know if it's going to break it down, but either way, I think that's
absolutely.
It's just an interesting thing to think about, that there's this Remember Me thing, because that's a lot of it in Book of Life is like, oh my gosh, if I get forgotten, I'm going to be gone forever.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting thing to see out there. Some of the other
Day of the Dead is remembering their ancestors.
Yeah, and that's definitely a big part of it for sure.
Yeah. So it's interesting you mentioned that, because I had mentioned, or I had written some notes about the Remember Me thing. I guess we were reading when I was reading about like what they put on the altars. Like, I guess it's often stuff that the person liked. So like, it was interesting to me that, like, what if that's the read that they're going with, it's like, is it a shrine or is it an altar? Like, is he just like loving this guy, or is what that guy liked himself? Like if he just loved himself so much, like could it? Like I feel like it could be a never meet your heroes sort of situation that he runs into. Like, I mean, his album is called Remember Me. Like that's sort of self-important.
Right. Yeah.
Like, don't forget me, please.
Yeah.
I took it as it was like his little shrine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I took.
The other thing I wanted to circle back on that too, with all of the items that were there, I almost feel like the begin, and this is just like again, we don't know anything. We're just saying I feel like I could have part of the beginning of the movie of him running around, like of Miguel running around to different like flea markets, little thrift stores or side tables, and just throughout time finding these little things and running them back there. So he might not have even had the videotape from his grandmother. He might have found it at somebody's, you know, at one of these like little like street sales or something.
Right.
And he's compiling all this together.
Right. Could be.
So,
I like that.
Could be.
Yeah. So some of the other things that are written in the background there's por siempre, which means forever. So that's something that that Miguel had written a sign there. There's El Hombre de la Música, which is the man of the music. So that was something that I saw back there. I already talked about the Remember Me. So the videotape, we already kind of talked about as we watched it, that, you know, that it's him expressing this dialogue, which flows the rest of the teaser through. But he says, I have to sing, I have to play the music. It's not just in me, it is me. Then it cuts over to Dante. So we'll now segue into talking about Dante.
Which is the puppy dog.
Right.
Good call. Yes.
Some people who maybe don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
And we only know that his name is Dante because, well, I guess he says Dante in the trailer.
He does, yeah. Before that, it was on his dog dish.
In the poster.
Yeah.
Oh, and you saw it on his collar too?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It was in the poster. So.
Oh, there you go. Yep. All right. So first impressions of Dante.
Oh, I like him.
Yeah.
I'm not really a dog person though. I'm a cat person.
Oh, no, good.
But no, I like him. I know, I like him.
Here
I
we
like him.
go.
I'm not saying I just because I'm not a dog person. I'm just making a joke.
Here comes the comments.
Yeah. Oh, here they come.
I know. Dogs are just
My immediate impression was one that he reminded me a lot of Hey Hey from Moana. He's sort of this like doofus looking animal sidekick with the bug eyes.
Yep.
But I'm sure he's a little bit smarter than the rooster.
That was a comment in the forum that Bonnie had left, where she was like, "Hey, is this going to be another sidekick that's kind of like a dumber sidekick that doesn't serve as much, or is he actually going to serve a purpose?"
I think he serves a purpose from what we've been reading in mythology.
There you go. Just a couple quick
Folklore.
comments, by the way. So people are saying, love the dog. They're commenting Doug. They're mentioning Buster and Toy Story. They're talking about all the dogs that have come before. But yeah, let us know your thoughts on the dog too. But go ahead from your research here now. From what did you learn from this type of dog? And wait a minute, let's talk about the pronunciation. So it's Xoloitzcuintle.
Yeah, you read that.
And so I'm going to try this. Xoloitzcuintle. Quintly. Xoloitzcuintle.
Do you know how to pronounce that?
Yes. Xoloitzcuintle. So it's, yeah, there it is. Xoloitzcuintle.
Mexican hairless dog.
So just call it Xolo for short. So yes, give the history here then.
Oh,
I
just
bet you have what I wrote.
they're the dogs that they're like protectors, and they will lead you through the underworld kind of thing to your ancestors, and then back home again.
Yeah, so some of the official that you had, because you had copied and pasted some stuff when we were emailing it and texting.
Yeah, we were
it to each
emailing,
other all day.
texting while he was at work today. I'm like, check this out.
Yeah, so the date of the breed goes back up to 3,500 years. It's long regarded as guardians and protectors. The indigenous peoples believed that the Xolo would safeguard their home from evil spirits as well as intruders. In ancient times, the Xolos were often sacrificed and then buried with their owners to act as a guide to the soul on its journey to the underworld.
Man, it is interesting that is what you researched, because I had the exact same conclusion about the dog, but for different reasons.
Oh, okay. Well, what are your different reasons?
Mostly just because that he was named Dante, and like I always just remember reading like the Divine Comedy in college, and like Dante's Inferno. I guess it's not Dante who's like leading him through the afterlife in the story, but I felt like that's why he was named that, because this, the whole thing is about traveling through like hell and purgatory and paradise, and I figured, oh, the dog is going to be like his guide through the afterlife. So.
Don't get all choked up. It's just the trailer.
Actually choking, not emotional.
Somebody commented out here, look at 1 minute and 24 seconds of the trailer. The dog is nowhere to be found. I'm intrigued by this. So let's pull that up here. But Dan, what did you find when you were looking at it too while I pull this up?
You said what I had basically the same copy and paste.
All right.
But I've also seen, just my thoughts on the dog. I like the design, and when I think of Mexican dogs, I think of that breed. I've seen it other than here, just in general. So I think that was a really cool choice. It really gives you that feel of Mexico. And I've seen actually a few kind of memes and things like that comparing him to Gerald's face from Finding Dory.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which was funny. I hadn't thought about that, but when you see them next to each other, they are funny. But I also don't think that he's just going to be this goofy, total comic relief type of character where he's just kind of dumb and all over the place. I think that he's in the teaser especially, he's acting like a puppy, he's acting like a dog. And sure, maybe he's a little goofy with that tongue hanging out, but I don't think he's overly comedic or goofy in the sense of Gerald. I think he really does serve this purpose, and I think he'll be part of the heart of the story at some point in the film as well.
And I also kind of think maybe that the actual physical Dante dog isn't the one that goes to the land of the dead. That it's like a spirit of the dog, because if you notice on the Marigold Bridge, he's a little bit different looking. Now he's just got more fuzz that kind of sticks out, and he just looks a little crazier than he did before. Now it could just be that we're seeing
around. If you watch, he's kind of rolling around in the flowers, and then he kind of gets all stuck up.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just a thought that I don't know, because he wasn't in the mausoleum, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't go to the land of the dead.
Right. I was wondering that too.
Or if it's just the spirit of the dog that stays with Miguel. I don't know.
Yeah.
And when will he be part of the whole journey? Like, will he be in the whole film next to Miguel? That's another question, because that would be him and what's
Hector.
Hector. So it could be a trio the entire time, you think? Because usually they that would be a lot to juggle. Usually they would keep it to a duo on journeys.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see Dante, how he plays into the whole journey and not making it seem like there's just too much going on.
Unless it could be a joy, sadness, bing bong kind of thing.
True. Yeah, that was for a little bit of the time. Yeah, there was three there.
All right, so I got to go back to this little screenshot here. First off, I want to know who this guy is, because now he's in actual real life form, where we know that at this moment he's going to turn.
I know what this is, because
it's in the graveyard.
Yeah, he's in the graveyard, so that's an actual person that's paying respects.
Because people were lighting, people were.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay. It was from my fast forwarding. I got off a little bit here. So Dante here, I feel like it's just. I feel like it's maybe just that he's more tousled, kind of like what Dan was saying.
Because he rubs his head in the flowers right beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Because before he does that, he's not, if you notice.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely like a Geraldy look right there.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am.
You think it's gonna be that guy's voice again?
Oh, Torben.
Yeah.
From Pixar again. I mean, he's going to do his voice. That's always a possibility. That'd be kind of cool.
He did Becky too.
That's right.
Well, I guess you could also ask the same for Miguel. Is it Miguel himself in this world, or is it Miguel like astral projected, like his spirit in this world? I guess you could say the same thing about him.
I feel like I
think it's his physical.
I feel like it's really
body.
him.
Yeah.
Because they talk about in the description that he's transported.
He's like a living ghost.
Right.
Okay, that's right. So his body's not like laying around somewhere.
Yeah.
I guess that would be a little disturbing.
Right. Yeah, that's probably that makes a good it makes good sense that they probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah. So it's actually him then. So it would probably actually be the dog in that case then.
Well, but people are wondering, like, how did the dog get in there then? Like,
because the dog, they didn't show the dog in the mausoleum.
He had to strum the guitar in order to then get transported into this. Maybe the dog's outside. But maybe
just because of the folklore that the dog just goes.
Or it could be that the dog wanders in when all of a sudden, like, those leaves start kicking up after he strums. Maybe they like encircle him, And
Yeah, 'cause
maybe
we
the
don't
dog,
Yeah.
maybe the dog comes running in at the last minute and then just gets sucked up in it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very summarized version of that, obviously. So, yeah, either
It's
I
gonna
think
be like that Moana teaser that they didn't show, that Moana was grabbing that green stone from the water when she was a little girl.
Right.
Oh, right,
They
yeah,
didn't show that in that teaser.
that's true. So yeah, I think
That
there's a
green
way-
stone was in that teaser, man. We found it. It's all over the. Anyway.
So somebody said maybe the dog died prior.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
But Miguel's the same age throughout it, so probably not. All right, so let's talk through some more of the lines from the teaser too. So when life gets you down, this is back to the Ernesto de la Cruz video that's playing. When life gets me down, I play my guitar. The rest of the world may follow the rules, but I must follow my heart. You know that feeling like there's a song in the air that's played just for you? A feeling so close you could reach out and touch it? I never knew I could want something so much, but it's true. This is where obviously it starts picking up and you start to see more visuals. The other thing that we start to realize is that this is how Miguel's learning how to play guitar, which is actually super cool, that he's learning from his great-great-grandfather, but he doesn't even know it.
Right.
So that's kind of a cool little thing. And then he unfolds the photo, which I assumed that he's unfolding the photo and it's probably from like a picture frame or something that he either knocks over, breaks, or he's for some reason.
The picture frame is in the shot. You can see it.
Okay.
It's like there's like the broken glass in the frame on the ground, and it looks like he just like figured out the picture was bigger.
Got it. Yeah. So he rolls that over. He sees Ernesto there, and then all of a sudden it's all kind of coming together. He's probably hearing and has been watching that video so many times. He's hearing these words, so he's going to just wander right towards this mausoleum now on the eve of the Day of the Dead. So then the final words: never underestimate the power of music. No one was going to hand me my future. It was up to me to reach for my dream. Of course, right when he's reaching for the guitar, grab it tight and make it come true. So for how cool is that the dialogue kind of carried us through. I know I talked about it right at the beginning, but I absolutely love it. It just flows so well.
I think it's one of those really pretty lines of dialogue, very reminiscent of, you know, how some Pixar dialogue is just really pretty to hear, like Ego's review in Ratatouille. Yep. It's just beautifully written. I feel like that was very along the lines of this, where it's just almost poetic to listen to.
Yeah. So then we see this is where we're seeing them. Miguel's in the actual land of the dead. He's doing that line that Julie said, "This isn't a dream. You were all really out there." We're seeing a whole bunch of other different imagery of him seeing, dead people, the skeletons,
like a floating city, kind of.
Yeah, floating city that's out there. It's of course gorgeous. We see the Marigold Bridge. So I guess it kind of makes me think, because this kind of sums up what's in the trailer. But have either of you guys seen Book of the Dead at all?
No,
I have
Book
not.
of Life.
Book of Life?
No, I have not seen Book of Life.
Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about some of those similarities and differences. Anybody in the comments, feel free to jump in as well with some of those.
We do have people that have been asking
to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the similarities. Obviously, it falls on or around the Dia de los Muertos holiday. Mm-hmm. That by itself, some people are already up in arms about. To me, that's the same thing as saying that Elf and A Christmas Story are the same movie. And somebody else even said it in the forum that it's like saying The Good Dinosaur is the same as Jurassic Park.
Or Star Wars and Star Trek.
Yeah, there you go.
It must be the same movie because they're both in space.
Right.
Totally a copy. Totally a copy.
There are, though, some other things that definitely come along with it. So they have a grandmother that's in a wheelchair. So that's a similarity on a character.
But not a stretch for when you're trying to do a character design.
No, not by any means, no.
Yeah, when you have a movie about going to the underworld like it's inevitable that you're going to have old people, a lot of old people and old relatives, right? Like it like plays into the story no matter
You
what.
kind of have to have a wide range of people in order to then go into the land of the dead and see all these people.
Well, and
Right.
to show a family, generations of a family.
Right.
Right, like there's always going to be generations of family in this story.
Yep. So the main character in the Book of Life, Manolo, wants to play guitar, and his family, of course, does not want him to.
No.
Wants him to be a bullfighter.
Wants him to be a bullfighter. Versus Miguel, who his family is like, no, we're shoemakers. We're going to continue down that road. Obviously, there's similarities in the designs, being Mexican designs. We've already seen some of the banners that appear in both the marigolds.
But you don't see the similar designs in character designs though, because in the Book of Life they're very.
Well, hang on, we're in the similarities.
Okay, but they're very stylized.
Yes, that is definitely 1,000,000%
Yeah,
different.
so
Maybe,
I don't see similarities in the character design. I see elements of set design.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, with the skull designs.
To be expected only because that is the holiday and that is their decorations and that is the tradition. Like the holiday has transcended long before either of these movies, by centuries. And obviously when you're going to make a film based around this day, they're most definitely going to have similarities as far as decor and set design and that kind of thing. Just
Yeah.
because. I mean, that's inevitable. It's just going to happen.
Right. Like Coco's not drawing from the Book of Life. They're both drawing just from the holiday, which has a very unique and specific look to it.
And that's what people don't get. It's not copying the design of Book of Life. It's taking from that actual culture and that actual holiday, both of them.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's like saying Christmas trees and Christmas lights, like any movie, are the same there. But so let's talk about the differences, which are many, many more. So Julie already mentioned character design, which is probably the most, at least from a intro standpoint, when you just look at them, it's a tale that's told. And the tale that's told is to these group of young children, and they use these characters, these little
like dolls,
the little wood dolls that have pose, and those are the characters. They're very stylized. It almost looks like it's a Tim Burton film. It feels like it's Nightmare Before Christmassy, something like that.
Yeah, Corpse Bride-y sort of.
Yep.
Yeah.
I definitely watched all the trailers and stuff like that to gain as much as I could from it, even back when it came out as well.
Yeah. The lighting, the style, obviously all that stuff is going to be different. I mentioned that it's the story is a tale being told. The other one is Miguel in Coco. The other one, it's Miguel's personal journey and his story. So we're not hearing this from
as he's going through it.
Also, from a story standpoint, I wrote that Manolo's story resolves very easily. So his dad doesn't really truly fight him all that much on not wanting to be a musician. He just says you got to train to be a bullfighter. But then all of a sudden, his dad is in the land of the dead as well, because spoiler alert, it's from 2014. So Manolo dies. He's in the land of the dead. And all of a sudden, his dad shows up. His dad hears him play guitar, and he's like, I was wrong. It resolves very quickly, very easily. I do not see Coco going this same path.
And there's also a love story.
And it's a huge love story.
Yeah, it's like Romeo and Juliet described as that in this world, which Coco is not described as that at all.
Right.
I'd be surprised if they gave him like a romance.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with how the Book of Life went. We just feel it's going to be very different from how Coco's going to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. No tearing it apart at all. It's just saying that it's definitely Coco's not going in that direction with the whole romance thing. It's no fault of the book.
Yeah, for sure. So although Book of Life is arguably authentic, I don't think anyone can argue that Pixar's film is going to up that ante with as much as they've been talking about it. They're hiring crew people they're involving crew people that are
like musicians. Yeah,
they're doing everything fully authentic. They brought in a team of writers. There's a whole past there. The vocal cast, like in Book of Life, has Channing Tatum, Zoe Saldana. They're not going to have pop culture-y type people. They're going to have authentic, Latino Mexican voices that go along with that. The music will not entail pop songs in Coco. So they do, like in Book of Life, Mumford & Sons, I Will Wait, Radiohead's Creep. They do a whole bunch of other things. And again, we're not saying this is a bad thing. We're just drawing contrasts.
Differences.
It's differences in style. Doesn't mean it's one's right or wrong. It's just drawing these differences because so many people are so caught up with
saying that it's going to be similar.
That it's similar, you're right. The humor is different. The characters' ages, I also want to talk about that too. So Miguel stays young the film, throughout the duration of the film, at least that we're aware of.
Yeah.
Whereas Manolo and I don't remember the other gentleman's name off the top of my head, but Joaquin, there you go. They get older pretty quick. I mean, and not like older, but late teens to early 20s. Maybe
I'd say 20s.
Yeah, 20s, and they get there pretty quick. So yeah, it's definitely different from those aspects. I think another way that people get caught up is I'm going to read the synopsis. It's a 2-sentence synopsis for the Book of Life, and you can start to hear some of the similarities here. I feel like if the synopsis for Coco was written a little different, it might not have created this initial swell. But I also don't know how you could have rewrote the Coco one. So here it is, Book of Life synopsis. Manolo, a young man who is torn between fulfilling the expectations of his family and following his heart, embarks on an adventure that spans 3 fantastic worlds where he must face his greatest fears. So that certainly has elements there, because the Coco synopsis says, despite his family's baffling generations-old ban on music, Miguel dreams of becoming an accomplished musician like his idol, Ernesto de la Cruz. Desperate to prove his talent, Miguel finds himself struggling in the stunning and colorful land of the dead, following a mysterious chain of events. Along the way, he meets charming trickster Hector, and together they set off an extraordinary journey to unlock the real story behind Miguel's family history. So I thought that was, you can hear similarities in there, but I'm just dispelling it right now because it's crazy talk.
It's crazy talk.
Yeah.
I want to try to get anyone out there who's thinking that this is just a copy. I'm trying to like just stop that way of thinking as much as possible, because it's like you can have two people, Lee and who was the director of Book of Life?
George Gutierrez.
Yeah, they had these ideas independently. Both of them go back a bit. I know that Book of Life goes back to like 2004. On record, this project goes back to at least 2010, and it could be even before that. It doesn't matter when they started or who had theirs first and whatever, all this crazy talk out there and who copied who. That's all I saw today is who copied who. And, people can have just these ideas that could end up being similar or be in a similar type of, have a similar theme or whatnot, or be around the same type of holiday or whatever, but can be very different and can be for some people like more. Some people will like Coco more. Some people will like both. Just like you have Trekkies, you have Star Wars fans, you have the both fans. People can just enjoy them and not get so caught up in which one came first. That's just kind of my rant.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
Oh, sure. So yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Book of Life. I really wasn't even familiar with it until today. I started seeing people comparing stuff about it. But like, I guess my argument for this is that, like, as Ben and I were dissecting the trailer, one of the things we noticed was like, oh my gosh, this movie seems so much like Moana again. It's like, oh, you have this main character who's obsessed with something, the ocean and or music. You have a family who's like, no, absolutely not. And then they're like, yeah, no, but anyway. And then they meet a trickster person, Maui, Hector. They have a goofy sidekick, hey, Dante. And they have to go, fix some mysterious thing that's wrong. And it's like, yeah, the same kind of stories get told, and sometimes they take different forms, and I'm sure this will be a lot different than Moana in the end. But it's like it doesn't matter. It's still its own thing, and you can do the same thing or a different take on the same idea, and it's just whatever. It's fine. Yeah,
for sure. And they all have somewhat similarities. There's a character in the movie Sing that the family doesn't want him to sing, and then of course they sing. There's always these types of things. the classic storytelling structure which Pixar uses is essentially, here is a character until one day something happens, and then this happens, and then it all of a sudden it's the match blowing out moment in Toy Story that they talk about, where you think they're almost going to get back, and then the match blows out where he's trying to light the rocket. Then they have to find another way, and then they finally get there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most movies follow a classic storytelling structure, unless you're Christopher Nolan or somebody like that.
Ooh, yeah. Inception.
Have you guys seen Westworld? Oh, I just finished watching the finale for that. Talk about unique storytelling.
Yeah, we've heard a lot.
Yeah, I just haven't got hooked in on that.
Yeah, sorry. Not related at all. Just
totally fine.
Yeah. Silicon Valley.
Yeah, it's on my list.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just actually got a direct message from Mitchell Stein, who said that he was at a press screening for Beauty and the Beast, and he was able to see a different Coco teaser than what was released online today.
Holy breaking news.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Breaking.
Okay.
And he wants to know if we want his write-up on it for the details.
Well, I think that's a yes.
This is the first we've heard that there was a different footage that was shown.
Yeah, and Mitchell, if you happen to be watching along at this point too, feel free to either jump in the chat and start commenting on it. But yeah, we will definitely be interested in hearing your thoughts on what this other teaser was and how different it was. Was it a couple moments that were different? Was it including the footage that Dan had seen at the D23 Expo? It will definitely be interesting to see that and what it will be. So who's going to Beauty and the Beast?
Oh, not until Saturday.
Midnight showing in our future, maybe?
Yeah, well, now I might have to reschedule some things.
Right.
Well, some are tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So people are also asking, there's been a couple times, so Disney 11 Pixar is asking, what does Coco mean? We're not 100% sure on what that means as of yet. There's some information out there in folklore that essentially there's this Coco mythical character that will come and haunt you at night if you're bad to your parents. There's all
We
different...
also know that one of his, what is his great-grandmother?
Grandmothers, right?
Yes, Mama Coco.
Yes.
Coco. Yeah.
So the family...
So I doubt she'd be like Mama Scary Person.
Mama scary person.
Coco meant someone like a haunted character.
Is that today's hashtag, Mama Scary Person?
Hashtag Mama Scary Person.
So yes, that is his great grandmother, the one that's in the wheelchair in the screenshot that we've seen,
with the braids.
nicknamed Mama Coco, voiced by Anna Ophelia Murguia. I'll go with that. I'm not going to claim that I'm an expert on it.
YOLO.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, he does have a pretty diverse family, and there was some confusion on that a couple months back when some information was out. I think it was from Entertainment Weekly that they had actually had it written wrong, and we had contacted them and said like, hey guys, you got this wrong in there. But so just to go through some of the vocal cast, we've got Miguel Rivera, which is voiced by Anthony Gonzalez,
who I love the vocal casting on him.
Yeah, in fact, there was a comment. In fact, I'm going to skip right now to it. So,
and I think he was like the scratch vocal because the other Miguel aged out.
He did. He got
his voice change.
He started going through his voice change. Yeah, the problems of casting and trying to cast people for a young role as they're aging because the character doesn't.
Yeah, in a film that takes a long time to make.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the forum, Luis504170 username said, holy goodness, the trailer was fantastic. I love the animation. Miguel's voice also sounds so good. So kind of talking about that, he said, classic Pixar. I'm a Mexican-American myself, so seeing this is very promising. And he also mentions the orange petals on the bridge. But other people had talked about that in the forum as well, that they were saying that his voice seems so great. I do love that it seems, and not that it seems, that it is authentic. When he says Dante, it's not like how I'm saying Dante. It's Dante,
Yes.
Like,
Notice that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's cool that it's going to be an authentic accent.
Sound.
Yeah, an authentic voice that's going in there. Also, his family. So we know Ernesto de la Cruz, voiced by Benjamin Bratt, that was announced. Hector, his trickster that he's going to come along with in his journey, is Gael Garcia Bernal. And then his abuelita, Granny, is voiced by Renee Victor. We mentioned the great grandmother. So he's got many, many layers. So we've got him, his granny, great grandmother named Mama Coco, and then Miguel's great great grandmother named Imelda.
She's the one who puts the ban on everything.
She does, because that is related to when she was with Ernesto.
Ernesto left her family to pursue music, and that's why his head is ripped off.
In that banner.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the one thing that we haven't seen any mention of, though, is his mother. I haven't seen anything. Have you?
No.
Unless he lives with his granny, I don't know.
Which is a possibility. I mean, there's that picture of him where he's, next to her in the wheelchair. It's possible that could potentially, if he does not have a mother or if she has already passed away, it could be in a very emotional point in the film if he comes across her as he stumbles in there. Right. But B, that would be a similarity to the Book of Life, because Manolo's character, his mother, has passed. But could be. We don't know. Because they haven't announced anything. They haven't even announced his father or anybody else like that if they're around as well. You assume it's still going to be a pretty big family that's together if they're this family of shoemakers in this town.
Right.
But you never know. So very interesting there. Additionally.
What I liked is Benjamin Bratt. You couldn't really tell it was him. At least I couldn't really hear.
You could hear it was him, but it didn't feel like traditional him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when he's been on either in movies, TV shows, like on Modern Family.
Oh, Javier.
He plays up his character on Javier, but he's definitely using his natural voice, and he's obviously, since it's on a VHS, they tried to make it sound like they did for even the news report on Gusteau, where it sounds more through, like it would be through a television.
Weathered in a way.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Bonnie in the forum also mentioned Ernesto's video. She's saying, I'm not saying this in a bad way. Is it supposed to be a cheesy-ish soap opera type thing?
Oh, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
It's absolutely, it's that exaggerated acting of that time period. If you watch old movies, that's how it is.
Right.
I kind of thought it was like a variety show.
Disgusting. Kiss.
Like Lucy and Ricky Ricardo show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of felt like it was that.
Yeah. And I like that. It was obviously very intentional on Pixar's part.
Yeah.
And that was, someone just mentioned that kiss. Was that you, John?
Yeah. I just love Miguel's little, just like, ugh.
Oh,
yeah,
I know, that was great.
That was something I was going to mention, is that has been done in so many movies, but and I guess you could call it a cliche, but the way the animators did his expression and his reaction felt so fresh that it actually made me laugh while I was watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt in the comments is saying, can we talk about the similarities to Kubo and the Two Strings? We have not actually seen that. Have either of you guys?
So I have that on my list too. I haven't seen it, but I did some research, and from what I understand, the only similarity I can find from people who are at it or accusing it of another copy or whatever
is discussing it.
Yeah.
Discussing it. Are the fact that it's a magical guitar. That's all I've seen people discuss. They both involve a magical guitar, and then I've also seen people also comparing it to Spirited Away. I haven't seen that either, but obviously she goes to that spirit state and to the spirit world, and that's really the main thing there I can find too. And if that is some kind of homage, I wouldn't doubt it, because John Lasseter and Hayao Miyazaki, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
They're such good friends that if it is a tribute to that, I wouldn't be surprised. And kudos. Yeah.
So a couple other comments I wanted to talk about too. The Polish gent who's in the chat, so hello. He mentions that talk about touching a person's heart right away. Just kind of circling back on some of these. Everything from the quotes, characters, music, the visuals are all executed very well, or really well. Yeah, and this is already the first trailer, and I love it. Matt Tasman, who I've mentioned a couple times, when he was in early, he said, I'm ready, loved the teaser. I think this will be better than Inside Out. That's a bold claim.
Pretty bold.
High bar.
Even director Lee Unkrich himself was asked the question, what is your favorite film that you have not been involved with at Pixar? And he said Inside Out.
That was during his Twitter Q&A when he was stuck at the airport.
Yeah, that's a big claim.
But it's possible. It's not Inside Out isn't the end all be all.
No, but it's darn good.
It is. That is true. It is a very high bar.
What is the end all be all, Dan?
Oh,
I don't know. They keep on going. I mean, I thought that every Pixar movie before Inside Out was the next high bar, and so they just keep on climbing.
Yeah.
What's gonna be the scene in Coco that's gonna make us all weepy?
Oh God,
Ooh, there could be a lot. It just depends on where the story goes.
Well, there's so many things with the family, and the family's going to get me for sure, without a doubt.
And family history itself is an emotional thing.
Yeah,
and your connection to those who have come before. And even the trailer is almost emotional in that sense.
Yeah. In fact, we got to stop talking about that one because I'll go too far with that one. So Ashley is saying in the comments too, like, whoa, that's intense, like better than Inside Out. Also, there are several requests for Jay to say how you believe this could fit into the Pixar theory.
Oh yeah, man, boy, I want to know too. Yeah,
I'm sure you've been thinking about that all day today.
No, it's one of those. I can't even. I don't think we have even enough to go on at this point just yet. I'm sure as more trailers come out and we see more stuff, maybe we can start forming some ideas. Otherwise, I probably just need to see the movie itself before I start making any claims.
Okay, all right. So you're holding for now.
Holding for now.
It makes sense because we really don't know much.
Right. Angry Bird Stream says, by the way, I'm a little late. Did you already talk about this being the Pixar's first potential musical? So I did write some information about that as well that we can talk about. So that was back in February 2015 that started. So Randy Newman had done an audio interview where he talked about that it was going to be Pixar's first musical. And that sent us on a whole, like, what is happening now? Like, this is really going to be their first musical. So Lee Unkrich himself addressed that later on. And he said, although it's not strictly speaking a musical, there are lots of songs in Coco, as virtually all the characters are performers. The soundtrack will be a mix of original music and Mexican standards. And he's quoted again saying, when people think of Mexican music, they most often think of mariachi. And that's, of course, one part. But there's a really vast landscape of music, and we tried to embrace it all. So it certainly sounds like there's going to be a song or two that a character sings, but it's definitely not going to be Pixar's first musical.
It's not going to be like a Pixar La La Land.
Right.
Well, it's a movie like about music, so it would be hard for there not to be characters singing songs. But I was wondering if it had been confirmed that it was a musical or not. But it would have surprised me if it was called a musical, but it would also surprise me if there weren't songs, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So somebody else is commenting. So Painted Pup is saying, earlier he was saying that he was a little worried about the film. I haven't seen a lot of corroboration on that as far as folks online saying that most of them seem like they're pretty excited, but hey, everybody is entitled there. And then he said, what did you think of the animation? He's not super impressed by it. I was actually extremely impressed by it. And not just because we're a Pixar site. Yeah. I thought the intricacies, like we talked about with the accuracy of the hands on the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that just everything about it. I didn't see anything that stood out to me. There have been moments that I've talked about before in films where I'm like, yeah, this scene feels like it's a little bit outside of what I'm expecting from Pixar, but I didn't see anything that stood out there.
No, and I mean, I was actually impressed. I liked when he wiped Ernesto de la Cruz's guitar and then he saw his reflection. I thought that was very subtle, but really nice. And, the flower petals streaming, especially on that Marigold Bridge where they're continuing to fall endlessly.
Through the arches.
Yeah, it's like a continuous loop. I thought that was good. I really liked seeing the skeletal figures. I thought they did a really good job on that, making them not scary appearing, that they put eyes.
Yeah, like look at that it's just constantly like roiling. It's just boiling marigolds.
Something we have.
So does it remind you more of lava or of water?
Oh, that's a good.
Gosh, kind of both.
It
I
is.
know, right?
Yeah.
Like
Wow. How is that like right in between there?
Yeah.
to me, because if it's like lava, that's almost like this looks like a pretty happy scene.
Yeah.
The lavas are normally like a, maybe a more traditional thought of like the hell or something.
Well, those marigolds are what.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that, did we?
Yeah. The
Yeah,
Mexican marigold is a pathway for the departed to go back to their loved ones and then go back to the land of the dead.
Mhm.
So it's like a pathway. So I think it's a happy thing.
Yeah. I mean, I had all that written down too.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I was just like, Ben and I were arguing whether we thought it looked like water or lava earlier, and I was like, well, I don't know.
That's kind of cool. The other thing that somebody said that it was funny. They wrote it in the forum. They said, "I wish I had never read this on a Reddit forum, but they looked like Doritos."
Oh man. It totally does.
That definitely didn't come to my mind, but now it will.
I did not think of it, but it's just funny when you think about it that they could be,
So we should screenshot that and then put like Doritos.
Yeah, logos.
Yeah,
Oh, here comes the memes. Here they come.
what was their old like 90s Hear the Crunch or something like that?
Oh, I don't remember.
Gosh, in the 90s it was something good.
Yeah, I only remember like the Lay's potato chip. Oh no, wait, wasn't it? Was it Cool Ranch Doritos with Jay Leno where he'd say, "Crunch all you want, we'll make more"? I think that was.
I think so.
Is that a pretty good Jay Leno there, Dan? You're laughing.
I just love anytime you do any kind of impression. I love it.
All right. Listen, I know I'm not the best. We just run a Pixar website. I'm not a vocal artist.
Wait, that was a sincere compliment. I love it every time.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, Matt wrote in the comments, Dorito Bridge.
I like it, so I'm going to see now.
And then somebody said, "Lol, mean it up." So that was Benny92. So what other thoughts do we have out of here? What other closing thoughts do we have?
Let's see.
Dig through. So you did bring up the skeletons again. That was something that Lee Unkrich had also talked about.
Yeah, he said they made a conscious decision to put eyeballs in the sockets.
Yeah, rather than have them be empty, because then it's scarier.
Mm-hmm.
They have to.
Well, they have to project emotion. I believe that's how he was.
Yeah, that was part of it too.
Saying.
Yeah, for sure. And they probably tried all those different ways. I would have loved to have seen all those different tests.
Well, they probably tried just moving the eye sockets to create emotion.
Oh, right. Yeah, to have them like scrunched down.
Yeah, but without
kind
catching like.
We tested the car's eyes in the headlights, and they're like, "No, that doesn't work."
Oh my gosh, it looks so bad.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the same way. I'm sure they tested that just in the same way, and they felt like this was more appealing. And I can agree.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I thought that was cool. Like that, he thought that because whenever you think of something that's a little bit intense, a little bit scary, you can think of Lee Unkrich for sure because he's always going to walk that line. In that same Twitter Q&A that we were talking about earlier, he also mentions what's the favorite scene you've worked on and that you had an impact on. And he said the incinerator scene in Toy Story 3. So, I mean, he loves the intense moments. He's going to have all those shining touches. He already said there's going to be, something that's hidden in here for The Shining.
Obviously, it's in like everything. That was in Toy Story of Terror.
Yeah,
he probably came up with Sid's Mutant
It was in Toy Story.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's in everything. What else was I going to say there? Oh, so I was really watching the background. Somebody asked earlier about Easter eggs. Did you guys spot anything that could even be a hint of an Easter egg?
I did not yet. I wasn't expecting to in the teaser.
I wasn't either, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Because I will tell you, the reason why you never know is because The Good Dinosaur had the Pizza Planet truck in the teaser trailer.
Right.
Oh, did they? Have you gone back and looked at it?
Yeah, so it's where they have just like the rocks that are like in outer space.
Well, I know that's where it is in the movie, but I wasn't sure if they went and like put it in for the movie or something. Never mind.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
In fact, you're right. I don't think I actually did go back. I just assumed in my head that it must have been there. But you're right. It could have been left out for that.
Okay.
So now I'll have to go back and double check. Dang it.
Check it. Yeah.
It appeared to be like one of the skeletal figures was dressed like Woody. But I know it's not because it wasn't like, it's just this cowboy hat. It was probably,
Oh, sure. I guess maybe the did you guys come across Jose Guadalupe Posada in your research about this?
No.
No.
Okay, so Jose Guadalupe Posada, besides having the greatest Mexican name of all time,
Yeah.
was a cartoonist or guy in like during the Mexican Revolution, and he was the one, like there's been like the skull imagery in Mexican culture for a really long time, but he would draw political cartoons with the skull of La Calvera Catrina, the Lady of the Dead. And there's like one image in particular of her that like really caught on. I guess like the people were really impoverished and illiterate, and so like they could still understand the cartoons and get involved in the revolution and stuff. But so that's why that's when like the image of the skull really caught on and started becoming associated with this holiday in particular.
Okay.
So the famous one is just that this drawing he's done of the Lady of the Dead, and that one woman he runs into kind of looks like that. The one he like passes through and she screams at him. It's just like a lady in like a big funny hat, which I mean a lot. But
Right.
I bet if that wasn't her, there's a very direct one homage to her at some point in the movie to that cartoon.
There's a direct one in Book of Life.
In Book of Life, where it's just very beautiful, a giant hat. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. Somebody else had mentioned.
Interesting though. I like that.
Yeah, that's great. You've enlightened us.
Yeah.
There you go.
And go ahead and say his name again.
Oh, Jose Guadalupe Posada.
That's the hashtag.
Yeah.
And you got to say it super fast like that.
Oh yeah, you have to say it real fast.
Right.
Yeah, that was it. The other things, I don't even know if they were Easter eggs, just more nods to the holiday. Where like did you guys see the little skull and the cake he has on his thing? I guess they're sugar skulls.
Yep, for sure. Yep.
And then the bread of the dead. I just thought it was a funny name.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a big thing about the bread in Book of Life too, for sure, because it's all about the holiday. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was cool that they included all that.
Yep. And Matt is asking, do you think we'll see a Toy Story 4 Easter egg? So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
No question. I don't know if anybody else saw it on our post, but we had done when Nick Patera did a tour, a YouTube live tour of Pixar Animation Studios. He was walking through the animation and production portion of Coco in the studio, and up on a file cabinet up in this corner, we have a screenshot of it. There's a
pinata of Buzz and Woody.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's.
But now remember, Toy Story 4 is not coming out next year. Incredibles 2 is. But because a lot of the animation, everything has been done on Coco, we think that there's probably not going to be an Incredibles 2 hidden.
Because of the original slate.
Right.
That's just our thought.
That's our thought. Now, I mean, it's not done. So they're,
But it kind of reminds me of when The Good Dinosaur had Arlo and MU when that was pushed back, because that was supposed to be the next one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Could
for
be.
Sure. And then there was even the Good Dinosaur that was in
Toy Story of Terror.
Toy Story of Terror. Yep. There you go. I don't even need to say it. Somebody put it the comment. Jose Guadalupe. I can't even do it. How do you say it again?
Jose Guadalupe Posada.
Yeah. Jose Guadalupe Posada. They already put it in there. I love it.
Guadalupe Posada.
Guadalupe Posada.
I'm not even gonna try. I sound so terrible when I
The hashtag exists, so now we've got Dorito Bridge and Jose Guadalupe Posada.
Oh, great. Good.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I'm intrigued as far as this we'll wrap up with our final thoughts here, and then also the teaser that's along with this Beauty and the Beast, and how different is it? So I will be intrigued to see that. So stay tuned to our site. We're definitely going to have Mitchell give us some of his thoughts on that, and we're going to share that information as soon as we have it. So any final thoughts from either of you gentlemen online here?
I think I have talked about everything I had written down thus far. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm excited for this movie. I wasn't sure what to even think of it. I was just like, I guess like every other Pixar movie hasn't really been based as much on anything. It's more like based like on an idea, like a what if, and this like has a base in the real world with like the with the holiday in particular that it's going off of. So I was like, it felt a little different, but having seen the trailer, I feel very confident it's going to be pretty good.
Yep. Dan, any final thoughts? Anything we haven't covered from your notes?
Something that I mean, maybe we made a brief mention of it, but something that we hadn't really discussed too much was that shot at the end, just that epic city shot. When I saw that, it almost blew me back, like seeing, because I had a full screen, and it was just like, poof, and it was like the detail and the grand scope and the epicness of that shot really, really took me back. And I don't think we had really dove into that much, but I wanted to make note of that it top notch. That was really good.
No, you're absolutely right. I'll just kind of skip forward to it just so we can see it, because that is.
Yeah, there it is.
Awesome.
There it is.
Even just when it just flashed up on the screen, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it's much bigger than you remember.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah, Kat is agreeing with you in the comments. She's saying, "Oh, geez, the city shot was amazing."
It kind of reminds me of like an Inside Out, inside Riley's mind, and also like the intricacies of inside A Bug's Life in the ant's den.
Oh yeah,
underneath the ground.
Yeah, or even like in the door vault of Monsters Inc. I just had that kind of flash too.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, and that was Lee Unkeridge's favorite scene he ever edited.
Wow.
How about that? Fun
facts.
facts.
Fun facts.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's
overall,
like he's really here.
Yeah.
Lee, is that you?
Yeah. I can't do that impression.
But overall, very similar to John. Like I personally didn't have a connection, so much with this culture or with this holiday in my past. It wasn't something that I, was really tied to emotionally. But it was something I was very intrigued by. And this anything new with any kind of new culture, I love learning about it, like we've been doing. And like Julie, like you said, now I want to go celebrate it. I want to go get the decorations and do this thing because it's very intriguing. This really just, I was looking forward to it, like I said, but this even more so now. I think it's just going to be a beautiful movie. And I also wanted to say, something in my notes here as far as just authenticness and authenticity. Was someone who doesn't get a lot of shout outs is the co-director Adrian Molina, who is of that heritage, and he was the storyboard artist for Toy Story 3 and You. He did additional screenplay material for Good Dino, and then he went in and did a whole draft of Coco, and then he became the co-director last year. And I think that's just very cool. Another reason that this will be so authentic and so genuine. To have someone of that culture there working on the film, I just wanted to kind of make a note of him because sometimes we forget that he's co-directing, which is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times they don't talk about that up front, for sure.
Yeah.
Would you like another Lee Unkeridge fun fact?
I bring it on.
What day did they announce that Adrian Molina was going to be the co-director?
Ooh, I saw it this afternoon when I looked it up, but I can't remember.
It's a special day for me.
Is it your birthday?
I'll be 35 on this day.
April 14th, 2015. I'm sorry, April 14th, 2016 is when he announced that he was going to be the co-director there. So Julie's birthday, April 14th.
But I'm excited. I've had a blast talking about it. It's gonna be gorgeous stuff, and I can't wait till we can talk about it again during the next trailer.
Yeah, for sure. Some other, just as far as from other comments, here, I thought this was kind of funny. Chompy Brothers TV said that they just looked and they didn't see the Pizza Planet truck in the Good Dino teaser. So I was like, oh, it's not there. But they said, but I can't find it in the movie either. So.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, what are you looking for?
Yeah, exactly. Also, Ashley's final thoughts. Ashley Getting's final thoughts are Pixar is amazing and Coco is going to be fantastic. I had talked about this on our podcast, on a podcast episode, that I think that this is going to be the movie that's finally going to bring the celebration of Dia de los Muertos to American culture in such a broad way that it might start infiltrating more than just, and I don't want to say infiltrating like it's a bad thing, but
right.
like spreading out more across our culture, because it's in pockets within the U.S.
Sure.
But I feel like this is going to be the one that is going to push it over the edge, because look at how much research the four of us have just done today.
Right.
Right.
And more that I want to know about it. I want to experience it. I have experienced loss, and I want to get some of the benefits of celebrating like they do. And so that's going to be something pretty big for me to take on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how they make it so positive. Celebrating death and remembering, they make it not so much a grieving, but more of a celebrating the life after death, and their memory lives on. And I think that's a great message too.
Yeah. I think what I was coming across in my, like when I was researching stuff today, was just that like a couple of different sites mentioned how like this holiday in particular was maybe the greatest indicator of the difference between like American culture and like Mexican culture, was how they view the dead. And like Mexican culture, I guess they like celebrate the life that was lived, and we're like, I guess much more afraid of death in general.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like a real sad thing, whereas there it's a real like joyous celebration of the life rather than the end of it. So yeah, I bet it does. You're right. Like you would expect maybe the four of us to be researching it heavy on the teaser trailer, but once it's in theaters, I'm sure, yeah, this can definitely spread. Although it's a bummer that it'll be coming out directly after the holidays, so it'll be like
true. We'll have to wait a year.
Yeah, it'll wait to get it caught on.
Yeah,
we got a lot of time to make those sugar skulls.
Yeah,
I
want to make some.
Yeah, that's a video right there. Julie's got ideas for that one already.
You look out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have something coming up soon.
She has that one and another one that we're going to be doing for it. Some tutorials.
All right, I see we're all on the same page here.
Yeah, for sure. What were you going to say, Dan?
Oh, I was just going to say, we must be on the same page, speaking of all this kind of stuff and celebrating the holiday, with, what kind of merch they're going to put out. Because that will be very interesting to see what direction they take on the type of merchandise they put out for this movie.
Holy cow, yeah.
Right. I wonder if you can, like, buy the guitar.
They will. I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
I can just picture, like, the Disney... They have an Elena one right now at the Disney store.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, I can picture it being very similar to that one, if anything.
That is going to be awesome.
And you can press a button, it can play his tunes.
Yeah,
I could imagine.
Or it could be a real one.
Yeah.
It has to be a real one for this movie. You can't just push a button. That's like against the spirit of the movie.
That's true. But yeah, it'll be interesting because, some Pixar movies lend themselves very naturally to merchandise, like cars or toys or whatever. But some movies like Up and this, I feel like, and Inside Out, it's a very different take on what they put out. So I'm intrigued for sure. Being a merchandise guy myself, I'm sure you'll see a lot of that later on this year.
What are you saying? I don't know why you'd say you're a merchandise guy. I mean, what's all that behind you?
It's a pile of junk, man. I'm a hoarder.
I'm a hoarder. we're getting real here on the
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm excited.
You did get a shout out on your shirt, Dan.
Oh, thank you.
And you got a subscriber, so we'll talk more about that in a second. I do need to go back to one other comment that somebody said. Morgan CL said when we were talking about Dorito Bridge, they said Dorito Bridge. Is this really what the internet has come to?
Yes, we've come to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, I want that guitar. They better make it now, because I can imagine myself being, as a kid for our son, he can strum that guitar and then he can envision himself going to visit our ancestors.
You're going to be a guitar snob for this one. You're going to want like the best, most accurate one.
If they make a real one, I will find a way to get it. Yeah.
Dude,
do you want like the white one, or do you want like the pieced together one that Miguel has?
What I want is one that is accurate sounding but looks pieced together like Miguel's.
There you go. Okay.
That's a tall order.
Yeah, yeah.
That's very specific.
Well, I want it to look cool, but then also still be playable.
I hear you.
I'll doctor that one up behind us.
Don't touch it.
If they don't make an official one, you're going to be seeing customs. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, people will be out there.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I think that about wraps us up. But before we go, we need to at least tell people where they can find you for more information. Dan, I already mentioned that you had somebody that said, I love this. I've already subscribed to your channel as well. So give people a little bit more taste as far as, again, what your site is, since in case we've got people that are coming in at the end here, and then also where they can find you on YouTube and your regular site.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I do primarily is in-depth product reviews of Pixar merchandise from my personal collection. I have a post virtually every day with something new for you guys to see. YouTube, yeah, I'm on YouTube. I'm trying to grow that as well to give you some more product reviews on there. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can find me on it all. And as far as what was the other question? I totally lost
it was pretty much where they can
Yeah,
find you.
that's
So
it.
just go to danthepixarfan.com.
Yeah, danthepixarfan.com, Pixar products. Find me there. I'll see you there.
There you go. There you go. And how about Mr. J. Carlin of the Super Carlin Brothers? Where can people find you?
You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/Super Carlin Brothers, or just search Super Carlin Brothers. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jonkerlin, JONKERLIN, which is confusing because it's not how my name is spelled, but that's where I am. We do lots of Pixar theories, lots of trailer reviews, lots of Disney, Harry Potter, Star Wars fan theories, and deep dive analytics sort of things like that. And that's what we do.
Well, we're gonna pat you on the back for a second because you have crossed a while ago now a pretty major milestone. How many subscribers do you have on YouTube?
Man, it is over 1 million at this point. Hold on, I can give you that. It is 1,157,325.
Yeah, so
I
that's
think we needed to do an introduction.
yeah, that's right. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
So it's we hit 1 million last November. That was really exciting. We still haven't gotten our golden button yet. We're waiting on it. But,
That's gonna be
Oh
awesome.
man.
you know,
Well, congrats.
we're on the
That's great.
list anyway. I don't know.
You guys are
It's
gonna,
what? It's 100,000 for the silver.
100,000, 1 million, and then 10 million for the diamond button.
Yeah, it was
But we're a ways off of the diamond button.
right. Well, that's. I assume you're gonna do a post when you get that golden one.
Oh yeah,
Or a video.
there will be all sorts of posts all over the place for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll also just throw a couple of comments out here because it's been fun. So Benny92, we've been having a blast. Thank you for everybody for all the comments. So Benny92 said, I don't want to leave. You've got some early happy birthdays from Vlad. So hey, Vlad Benson.
Oh yeah.
I'm
gonna be old.
Yep. It's Matt Tasbin says Dan is so awesome.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. Ashley said I had such a bad day and this made me so happy. Ashley's cool for anybody that doesn't know. She has a Pixar tattoo, I believe the Luxo lamp on her arm, which is pretty cool.
I want to shout out to Ashley too because she's been a dedicated follower, and thank you, Ashley.
Yep, absolutely. Matt also said he loves the Super Carlin Brothers. Big fan. Somebody said you're better. I don't know who that's to, so we'll just say we're all better.
It's Julie. Julie's better, obviously.
Oh, well that. She just laughs. You can take it. And yeah. So, all right, everybody, thanks for joining. We had a blast. There was a ton to talk about here as we're talking about a sub 2 minute teaser trailer.
Yeah.
But more to come. Like I talked about, Mitchell will be giving us some information and details regarding this Beauty and the Beast teaser. We're going to see what we can uncover from it. So stay tuned to pixarpost.com all week for the latest Pixar news. And by the way, if you have not listened to our podcast, stay out of this, Dan.
No, I was waiting for your rant where you go through all of them in like 2 seconds.
Oh, right. Yes. But yes, if you have not listened to our podcast, you better check that out too, because we talk about all sorts of crazy stuff on there too. And we come up with our own theories. We talk about the news. We do all sorts of crazy things. We're going to be expanding our YouTube presence as well. So
It's just so hard.
but that's the fun of it, right?
I know.
We love
it's
it.
hard.
Right?
I feel for you, Jay.
And
YouTube?
now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and YouTube is the comments are now out of control. People are slowly individually spelling Doritos. Each person is putting in a letter to spell Doritos. So yes, wait till the international teaser trailer drops. We got a lot to talk about. So thank you, everybody. Stay tuned to pixarpost.com all week for the latest Pixar news. And you guys have a fantastic evening. Thanks for joining, everybody.